Hi everyone, as you can see here, we are building an application for a YouTube kind of application where we are managing the videos in different channels and in different playlists. So here we will start developing the model or the entities for the application. So the first entity will be the category entity. It will have four fields: ID, name, active and description. So let's start and build this thing. So before that we have configured the database properties, which is URL, username, password and the dialog for that, and apart from it we have added the dependencies. You can see here in pom.xml we have added starter data JPA. So we have added the JPA dependencies over here. So what we have to do here is we will create one package where all the models will reside. So the name of the package will be .model. Now we will create one class. The name of the class will be category detail. Category detail. So we have created category detail. Now here we have to define some of the metadata, or what we can say annotations. So the first annotation that we have to provide is we have to mark this class as an entity. Make sure you are importing the right annotations. So this should be in java x.persistence. So now we have marked this class as an entity. So the second annotation is we have to provide the table name for this entity. Actually what happens in ORMs, this particular class will be bind with a table in the database. So for which table this class will be bind, we have to provide it over here. So the name will be that should be category detail. Yeah, category detail. So here we will give the fields for this class. So the first field is private integer ID. This will be the ID field for uniquely identifying a record in the category. Then we have private string name of the category. Then the third will be private boolean. This should be the active, if the category is active or not. And then the final one is it should be string d. It should be DESC for description. So as we are not using project Lambbox, so we have to create getter setters. Generate getter setters, select all, generate. So this is done. So now we have to give the column names and some extra properties to these fields. So the first of all, we have to provide this field as ID or the private key for the table. So for that we have to mark it as ID. Second thing is, as this is an ID field, we will give a generation strategy. As we know that this field is going to be the unique one or the PK for that, so we will do one thing, we will add a generation strategy so that this will be auto generated, so we don't have to provide the value for the ID field. So for that we have the annotation, that is generated value, this one. Here we can provide the strategy for generation, but by default that is auto. If you are interested in learning generation strategies, let me know in the comment section and I'll create a dedicated video for that one. So the final annotation is column, because we have to provide the name of the column. So column, so the name will be PK, that is primary key, cat ID. Then for name we can give column name will be cat name. For boolean active we can give column name equals to cat, we can give it status, then column name cat dsc. This is for description. So most of the things are done. Now only one thing is left, because this is an entity and this is going to be persisted into the database. So we will implement serializable, because we will convert this entity to a byte stream, so that we will mark it as serializable. So once we added the serializable, we have to give the generated version ID for that, the serial version for that. So for that we have to click over here, and you can use a default one or you can generate one. So we will generate for this entity only. So this is the generated serial version for this entity. So we will save it, and before doing this thing, let's open Mysql workbench. Here you can see I have already one connection. If you go to this YouTube, you can see we don't have any table here, right? Look, we don't have any table. So we go to here. Let me let's save this, and once I start this application, you'll see here look, here you can see we got this one, create table, this one. As you can see here in application properties, we have mentioned two things, ddl-auto equals to update. So this will be automatically updated. So whenever we change the schema, that will be automatically reflected in the database. And second thing is show SQL, that is true. That means whenever we hit any query to the database, that will be displayed over here. So here create table is called for our table, for this category table. So due to that we got this category detail. So this table is created from this query. Now if you go to here, you can see, let me refresh it. Now here you can see we got this category detail table. Let me use this, and look, pk cat id, cat status, cat description, and cat name. So this is created. So this is how we create an entity, and in the next video we will create a controller and service layer for this category master. See you in the next video.